Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you might be. Hope you're having a wonderful Monday for a change. Not the usual day we go online here, we go live, but it'll have to do. I was a little busy yesterday. Had some stuff I needed to do. I wanted to do. Let me just quickly post on my Discord channel. How you guys doing? Might be a pretty quiet live stream today. As I've mentioned before, not our usual day. Yes, there we go. Posted in Discord. I see David Pryor in the chat and Paul Hutchings. How you doing, man? Good to see you. He says he's on his zero-turn mower, so he's got to use both hands and won't be able to comment, but he'll be listening. Have an awesome show, Arm Historian. Hold the fort down, chat. Thanks for that, Paul Hutchings. Drive safely on your mower there. Hope you have a good time. Let me know how the audio is, chat. I've changed some settings on the microphone, so I might sound a little different or a little off. Let me know if that's the case. I've also tried using a new chat highlight feature. Let me test that. Here we go. Seems to be working. Sounds great on my end, says Paul. Awesome. Good to hear. Yeah, might be a very quiet live stream, as it looks like right now. I don't know how long I'm gonna be on. Might be short, but I wanted to go over East versus West 13 and also kind of talk about maybe the all-time Prime Fantasy League and how it all turned out in the end. But yeah, we'll see if we get to it. Other than that, we'll do, as usual, our live streams on Sunday evening for me. So yeah, expect that to come back next Sunday. Probably going to be talking about East versus West 13 results by then. I'm also going to a big practice on a Saturday where Reno Masic will be too. So I'm going to be able to meet him and yeah, talk to him, watch his seminar, stuff like that. Looking forward to it quite a bit. But yeah, without further ado, let's jump into it, because there's quite a few matches. As you can see, it's still 4 days and 22 hours away. Nearly 23 hours here. But we'll take a look at the matches separately. See what we're working with. This is not a sponsored stream, obviously. But for those of you that have been keeping up, Engin did accept me into kind of an East versus West partnership program where I'm allowed to use certain clips and certain footage in return for me kind of shouting out the event, but I already do that, so yeah, there you go. Yeah, let's start at the bottom here. I think that's the best way to start, right? With Artem Taranenko versus Toms Rosit. Yeah, this is gonna be a good one, I think, or at least has the potential to be a good one. Toms Rosit has been tearing up the scene at the WAF, I believe. Has been doing really well. Part of the Latvian team with Coach Ray and Yanis Amolins and those guys. And yeah, he's facing Artem Taranenko, of course. The top roll king on the left arm, I believe. Yep, left arm. At 85 kilograms. So yeah, Artem is one of those guys. He's also kind of a social media guy to a degree, but he's also one of those guys that has been steadily improving, I feel like. So he's not without a chance here. Gonna be a tough ask, but yeah. Topo says be a tough one for Artem. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting to, I think. It's gonna be a tough ask for Artem Taranenko. But yeah, if he manages to kind of defeat Toms Rosit while he's on the rise, it'll be a very good win for him. Kind of solidify his place as a top arm wrestler, you know what I mean? Famously lost to Bowen early on in his career in the bottom 8 tournament put on by Devon. But yeah, it'll be a good match, looking forward to it. I have to give the edge to Toms Rosit, but I definitely think Artem isn't without a chance here. Moving on to the next one, Adam Warzinski versus Vladimir Mayorov. Vladimir, we saw some of Vladimir, I believe 1 or 2 events ago, right? Very impressive guy. Despite maybe first looks, possesses a great amount of strength, obviously. And then Adam Warzinski, I'm glad we're seeing him again. I know he's had a couple of losses in there, I believe, on his East versus West resume. But I'm really happy that yeah, they're giving him another go at it. I like Adam, the way he pulls. Very hard to predict. I do have to give the edge to Vladimir just because he really impressed me last time he pulled, if I remember correctly. But again, it's one of those matches that could go either way in the end, right? If Adam Warzinski comes in really prepared, sure, he could take it. I like both of these guys. I don't really know a lot about Vladimir, but whenever I see Adam on the table, I'm always impressed with his professionalism in general. Third match, Zorab Taburice versus Petro Maharin. Yeah. It's good to see Maharin on the scene again, especially on this big of a stage, right? But yeah, he's got his work cut out for him with Zorab here. It's gonna be on the right arm in the 105 kilogram category. Tough to say, right? My gut instinct is Zorab, but correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Zorab injure his arm? Was it his left arm that he broke? Or at least tore something? I can't quite remember. Don't know if someone in chat would know. But yeah, I do believe Zorab is coming off of an injury here. By the way, if you're in chat and you haven't already, take a quick second maybe to hit the like button. It'll get a couple more people in. We're not going live at our usual time or day, so yeah, it makes sense that there's gonna be less viewers. But if we all hit the like button, we might get a couple of more people in here. Bo Horner Arm Wrestling says he broke his right humerus. Thank you, Bo, for clarifying that. Yeah, so and it is a right arm match, so it's gonna be tough to see at what level Zorab is coming in at, right? I hope he's fully recovered, because he won't have an easy match in Maharin, I believe. I should make more use of the chat highlight function, right? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so thanks, Bo, for that extra info. Good to know there. Moving on to the next match. Karolina Peterson versus Olga Terpelova. To be quite honest, I know very little of Olga. She can be bad, right? In order to get at East versus West. If anyone knows any more about her, let me know. I do, however, know quite a bit about Karolina, and I know, yeah, she's on a really high level right now. Climbing the ladder steadily, improving with each match, it seems so. I do have to give the edge personally to Karolina. She also just seems like a genuine, nice person in my limited interactions with her online. So yeah, I do have to give the edge to Karolina, but if people have some information that I'm missing on Olga, I'd love to hear about it. And that could maybe change my mind. Because like I said, I know very little about Olga. This is a right arm 60 kilogram super match, and I do have to say, I love that they're including more female matches. I know not everyone wants to see female matches, but I do believe it's a good thing that they're including more of them. It's like a whole untapped market, right? A whole untapped potential. 50% of people. We should try at least a little bit to include the fairer sex, so to say, right? I think it can only be good if we get more women involved in arm wrestling. So yeah, looking forward to that match, and I'm happy they're including it. Next one. Chan Shaw versus Ibrahim Sagov. 150 kilograms right arm match. Excuse me. It's gonna be a tough one, right? For Chance, I mean. They're throwing him to the lions once again, I feel like. But if he manages to beat Ibrahim here, I think that'll be a good thing. Is Ibrahim 115 kilograms? Or is he lower in weight? I can see Chan Shaw being that now. Although, yeah, wasn't Chance way heavier? Must have lost a lot of weight, right? I hope he makes the weight. I'm sure he will. Arnold Larson says, I'm too strong. That must be nice. Being too strong, Arnold Larson. Tell me your secrets. He says, I think Ibrahim cuts like 1 kilogram. Okay, that's fair. So Ibrahim was coming from about that weight. But yeah. Could be a close match. Like I said, there's a little bit of a question mark there as far as weight goes. I thought Chance was way heavier than 115. But if he makes the weight, good for him. I'd love to see him do well. I think we need some young American superstars in the sport to step up. And I think Chance is one of the better chances of someone doing that, right? Pun intended. So yeah, it's going to be a good match, going to decide a lot. So far, I feel like West is, for the most of these matches, slightly the underdog here. But this is one of these matches where I'd want East to win, West to win. So there you go. Next match, also a women's match. Awesome. This time 60 kilograms. Going even lighter, I believe. The previous one was 65, right? Bo Horner arm wrestling. Says, I think Chance has a good shot, honestly. Awesome. James M says, did we dox this commie yet? James M, a very trusted chat member that comes in every now and then to yeah, entertain us with his comments. Yeah, I do think Chance isn't without a chance here, right? I think he could take it, Bo Horner, but it's gonna be a tough call. Tough ask for Chance. So Dimitrina Petrova versus Ayane Takanaka. Awesome to see these two, as I haven't seen them before on the big stage, although I do think we've seen Dimitrina Petrova, right, a couple of times. Ayane Takanaka, if I remember correctly who it is, I think she is multiple world champion at WAF. So yeah, must be doing something right there. Really strong, especially for her weight. So I gotta give the edge to Ayane. And I also just want to see more of her. Just like with women being underrepresented in arm wrestling, I think the same goes for a bunch of countries that I just want to see do better at arm wrestling. It makes sense, right, that some countries are underrepresented just because they have less strong arm wrestlers in general, or less people interested in arm wrestling, coming from Japan, for example. But I do want to see more of Japanese pullers, you know, where's the Yoshi Kanais of the world? Want to see them in the spotlight again. Their history with arm wrestling runs very deep. So yeah, I'd love to see it. Scarapoon says, hello arm historian, hello Scarapoon, how you doing? Good to see you. Welcome for joining us. James M says, Pauline is more than Australia. Yeah, Pauline might have everyone in Australia's number, maybe. Might be the case. I do love me some Pauline though. Pauline, one of the people that I was fortunate enough to have on the all-time fantasy, the all-time prime fantasy league there, who stepped in to commentate along with me. Awesome guy. Let's move on to the next match here. The left arm lightweight world title. Daniel Prokopchik versus Božidar Simanov. Scarapoon says, if you were 3 inches in your mom and your dad was 3 inches in you, where do you go? Good question, Scarapoon. No idea. Asking the real questions here, obviously. Daniel Prokopchik, of course, on a roll. Can't really discredit Daniel in any way lately. Also a consummate professional on the left and right every time he steps to the table. Bo Horner says Daniel will be too much. That's my first thought too. I'd love to see Božidar do well because I know he's been kind of... I don't want to say in an off-season, but he's kind of a little bit on the downturn, right? Compared to where he was before. So I do want to see him do well again. Seems like a really nice guy too. But yeah, I can definitely see what you say making sense, that Daniel will be too much. Could for sure be the case here. Let's move on. Yeah, we're about halfway, I think, through the matches right now. Let's take a look at the next one. Artem Tainov versus Betkili Onani. Yeah, I'm familiar with both of these guys, but only for to a very limited extent. It's a left arm middleweight, so 95 kilogram world title. It's funny how like the weight classes have evolved throughout the years, right? Heavyweight is now like over 100 kilograms easily. Although, interestingly, I know in local tournaments here where I live, super heavyweight or the open class oftentimes is still 105 plus or 110 plus maximum. So even in amateur classes, sometimes they do 85 plus or 95 plus. So really interesting. Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing to kind of check where every league puts their middleweight, heavyweight, and so on, all their classes, at which specific weights they put it. But as far as this match goes, could go either way, right? I think Artem Tainov is coming in as the favorite, but that might just be because I know him slightly better. Arnold Larson asks, are you streaming on multiple platforms? I am not Arnold Larson. I've thought about streaming on Twitch, although I don't think there's a lot of arm wrestling viewers on Twitch. I've thought about streaming on Facebook, but I haven't really given it a lot of thought yet. Haven't really looked into the specifics on how to do that. But yeah, I should, right? I should get into that. It's cool seeing some new people in chat. Like I said, usually we go live on Sunday, about half an hour from this time. So it makes sense that we're seeing a little less people online, but it's really awesome to see some new faces in here, or people at least that I haven't seen a lot before. So welcome to those people, of course. Who's buying the event? I'll run a poll. I'm very interested to see if all of you are watching it live. Let me run a quick poll here. No, I don't need a third option. There we go, although I think the chat, it kind of breaks the chat highlights. Maybe not. Bo Horner says, I'm glad to be here, love the content, man. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for checking out my content. On the topic of content, I've been really busy lately with a couple of things, including the all-time prime fantasy league. But yeah, I'm all the way back on the content train, so to speak, and there's a big episode that's coming out soon on one Mr. Engin Terzi. Scarpoon says, hello, arm historian. Is that your arm in the suit or just a stock photo? It is indeed my own arm, Scarpoon. Arnold Larson says, bought them all. Yeah, same here. I think I bought every single one of the East vs West and King of the Table events so far. I don't think I skipped one. Let's take a look at another match here. And it's interesting, they're putting the Travis Bajent Kalinenko match pretty relatively low on the docket. What is he? 7th. Okay. So yeah. That's an interesting thing, right? One would assume that Travis Bajent's first time at East vs West might get a bigger billing, but maybe that just speaks to the quality of the rest of the matches, right? Bo Horner Arm Wrestling says, what is your greatest accolade in arm wrestling so far? Interesting question, Bo Horner. As far, I think my greatest accolade in arm wrestling, without tooting my own horn here, just to answer the question, is this channel. I think it has by far had the most impact on the arm wrestling world from things I've done personally. But if you're talking about me as a person arm wrestling, probably doing well at the last tournament I went to, getting more wins on the right arm than I did losses. Not like I'm some elite level arm wrestler. Bo Horner says Travis lives about 1.5 hours from me in West Virginia. Interesting. Yeah, I like Travis. I think he's one of those very charismatic, entertaining people that we definitely need to get on stage more. So that's awesome. Never go train with him. I don't know if he still does like public trainings. A win is a win, buddy. Yes, indeed, Bo Horner. I was very glad to be getting some more wins. I remember my first tournament. Yeah, it didn't go quite as well. But I feel like I'm getting the hang of it these last couple of years / months. So yeah, Travis Bajent versus Sergey Kalinenko. At first, when I heard about this match, I thought it would be a left-handed match. It turns out to be a right-handed match, which is very interesting. I don't know at what level Travis's right arm is. But yeah. Very interesting to see, right? I'm gonna be keeping a close eye on this match, of course. Where is Travis's level at? Can he beat someone like Sergey right away? I don't know. It is in the open weight category, so... Scarpoon says, hello, arm historian, were you part of the 800 club? I'm not quite sure what that is, Scarpoon. Something to do with arm wrestling or not? Let me know. Spermies, how you doing? Says, hey buddy, hope you're doing well. Reminding people to hit the like button there. Yeah, take a second, hit the like button if you can, guys. It'll help get the stream to a couple more people. Bo Horner said they train on Thursday, so I'm not able to make it out there during the week due to work schedule. That's unfortunate. Yeah, 1.5 hours. Maybe in the US that isn't a lot, but where I'm from it's basically across country. Arnold Larson says Travis is gonna win. Sergey is not ready for that setup. Might be the case, right? On the other hand, I think Sergey might be a little more strident than someone like Derek Smith when it comes to fighting for the setup. So in that sense, I do think Sergey might give Travis more of a difficult time than his match with Derek Smith. Plus, like I said, you can't really predict at what level Travis's right arm is going to be, right? You've got kind of a glimpse of his left arm being at a pretty high level, but his right arm, yeah, no clue. Bo Horner also believes in Travis. Scarpoon says, will you ever post your arm wrestling lifts, back pressure, riser, etc.? Short answer, yes. Slightly longer answer, might take a while before I do that. I kind of want to focus on making my long form content again. It's been a while since I put out a really thorough investigated episode, if you know what I mean. Reminiscent of my previous episodes, videos. So yeah, I'm focusing more on that, on my long form content right now. But yeah, sure, I do want to do that. I train quite a bit for arm wrestling specifically, so yeah, if people are asking about it, and several people have, then I don't see why I wouldn't do that. What were you lifting in back pressure 2 years ago? 2 years ago, I wasn't doing arm wrestling specific lifts yet, so I couldn't tell you. Yeah. 2 years ago, I was very early in my general strength training journey. Yeah. I played a lot of basketball growing up and in my later years, but then I kinda, yeah, when I started working and stuff like that and studying, I kind of fell off doing a lot of sports. But then, yeah, some years ago, like 4 years ago or something, I started strength training and stuff like that and getting into arm wrestling. So yeah, there you go. A quick rundown. Bo Horner says, I actually competed against Travis about 2 months ago and he destroyed everyone. Interesting, Bo Horner. Where was that? Is that a local tournament somewhere? Hey, Tomer, how you doing? Can't watch right now, but I'll be back soon. That's all good, Tomer. All good. Tomer, how are your exams, or did you get any results back yet? Hope they went well. I remember when I was in uni, it took quite a while before we actually got our results. Purgitsville, West Virginia, interesting. Scarpoon, I can't tell you for sure. I should do, like, I should write it all down and, yeah, maybe tape it, video it, and put it on social media. Just my 1 rep maxes. If not for people that want to see it, just for my own sake. I should be better at that. Arnold Larson says, what are your stats so I know what to expect when I need to destroy you for making another MMT hater video? To be fair, Arnold Larson, I'll tell you my stats, but I do want to first say I don't hate MMT. And I don't think my video was that hateful of MMT. Although, and I have admitted this before, the rise and fall of Monster Michael Todd was my first longer video, my first real video on the channel. So I was still looking for kind of a tone to set right, and I might have been too harsh in expressing a couple of points there. So I do concede that freely. I think I've gotten better as the series has gone on, and as I've made more videos. I think I've gotten better at that. So yeah, I do take your criticism for what it is, and I appreciate it. As far as my stats go, like my weight and height, I'm about 198 centimeters and about 130 kilograms. But don't imagine some muscle beast that isn't all clean weight, of course. Scarpoon says, what is the length between the bottom of your palm and ring finger? I've never measured my hand to my ring finger, Usually when I've measured it, it was to my middle finger, and I've got quite big hands. I've posted it on Discord before, a picture of my hand with a ruler next to it, because other people have asked about it. And it's about 23.5 to 24 centimeters, depending on where you start measuring at the bottom of the hand. So yeah, I've got quite big hands. Not that it always helps with arm wrestling. Hey Chuck, how you doing? Good to see you. Seen a lot of new faces today, so maybe I should try going live on a different day more often. As far as the Travis, getting back to the Travis-Sergey match, I do have to give the edge right now to Sergey, but that's just because I have no clue where Travis's right arm is. Arnold Larsen says, I'm 190 and 150. Yeah, that's really big, Arnold. Awesome. Could have a good match, who knows? Hey, TOS Move, how you doing? Good to see you. Chuck says, great, just came back home and saw you. Awesome, Chuck. Thank you for jumping into the live stream. We usually keep it pretty relaxed here for people that are new. Pretty laid back, as you might have noticed. I just finished doing a all-time prime fantasy league. It's kind of a hypothetical fantasy league, arm wrestling fantasy league, where I invited a different guest every week to come speak. We had people like Ryan Bowen, Paulin, Aussie Arm Wrestler, etc., Eric Roussin. We had people like that on, Matt Connolly. So yeah, it's kind of a quieter live stream this time. But yeah, I have some ideas cooking for future live streams. Scarapoon says, hello Arm Historian, when is the length between your rectum and ball sack? When is that length? I don't know, last year? Arnold Larsen says, Fantasy League was awesome. Well, thank you for watching that, Arnold Larsen. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I want to pour it into a succinct 20-minute video or something like that, or maybe a 15-minute video. Just edit it down to the most exciting parts and yeah, put it out on the channel. But I've got so many irons in the fire, so to speak. I'm doing so many things at the same time for the channel that it's hard to predict when that'll be out. Chuck says, lately I wanted to interact more because I love the atmosphere here. Well, I appreciate that, Chuck. I think we've cultivated quite a nice little arm wrestling group here. As I said, we go live every Sunday normally, as you probably know. Yeah, it's good to go live on a different day every now and then, right? I needed to drop my girlfriend off at the airport early this morning, and I wanted to spend time with her yesterday evening too. So yeah, that's why I couldn't do it on the regular date. Let's take a look at our final women's match here, and the third women's match, which is awesome in the event. Barbora versus Egley. Yeah, Barbora. I want to see more of Barbora, right? I think she's the number one right now, right? She beat Gabi pretty recently. So I think she's kind of the undisputed number one at the moment. Although there could be a couple of people that she hasn't faced yet, but I have to give the edge to Barbora for that reason. If Egley shows up in a condition like how she was before, at her peak, or what I believe to be her peak, then I think she has a chance. But still, even if that does happen, I do still think Barbora would take it. Yeah, just really strong, right? It is for the openweight world title, so that makes sense. As you see Barbora also wearing her belt here. Tomer says, I'm back, what are we talking about? East vs West 13 and the matches, also a couple of other tangents we went on, thanks to chat here. We are talking about nipple golf. Yes, the well-known sport of nipple golf, of course, with Barbora, the world champion. Next match, Todd Hutchings versus Krasimir Costadinov. I always love these two guys when they're in a match, and now they're in a match together, so that makes it even better. How can you not love watching Todd Hutchings or Krasimir Costadinov pull? I mean, if you look back at some of Krasi's matches throughout history, He's beaten some pretty incredible people, including Levan, in a super match. And that's not even that long ago. Like, it's not a decade ago or something like that, so... Chuck says, hard to bet against Todd. Yes, indeed. It is hard to bet against Todd. But I do think that Krasi has a chance, depending on how he comes in. I think one of his latest matches was versus Lachlan, right? Am I remembering that correctly? I think he beat Lachlan at King of the Table. Before that, I think he faced Matt Mask and lost against Matt Mask at... Was it Knuckles Up? Not quite sure. Might have been somewhere else. Bo Horner says the side pressure king takes it, talking about Todd Hutchings, of course. Chuck says, how do you see Krasi winning? Krasi is one of those people, if he... Okay, I know we're talking about facing Todd Hutchings here, but if Krasi manages to set a hook and get really supinated, yeah, I think he might possibly be able to hold Todd. I know it sounds like a long shot, right? Because it's really hard to hold Todd there in a hook. But I do think Krasi is one of those people that might just be able to catch Todd after a couple of rounds maybe, but it's possible. You know what I'm saying? I definitely think it's possible. He's one of those people that I never fully count out, Krasi, even when he's up against the odds. Chuck says Krasi is greater than Lachlan, but Todd is way greater than Lin, and Lin is way greater than Lachlan. Yeah, true. Yeah, we haven't seen Krasi against Paul Lin, for example. And they all go inside. Yeah, also true. Yeah, it's a battle of the hooks, kind of, right? Will Todd's side pressure and just initial hit be too strong for Krasi to contain even once? I don't know. Difficult. Difficult match to predict for me personally. I know a lot of people probably have Todd as the clear favorite, but I don't think it's that clear. Tomer says Todd wins because Krasi will force the hook, but Todd used to cave a hooker, so Krasi's best move doesn't do much against Todd. But then Bo Horner says, I will say, Todd does better against top rollers compared to hookers. Yeah, I do think that's the case. I think a strong hooker, a strong hook puller who's able to fully supinate Todd Hutchings might give him some issues. And I do think Krasi could be that man. So how would you see Dakan versus Krasi, asks Chuck. Tough one again, right? Because Dakan beat Todd Hutchings, right? Not too long ago, I believe. Pretty convincingly, if I'm remembering correctly. So yeah, tough ask, I guess. Probably if Krasi wins against Todd, that might be one of the next matches for him. Dakan. But yeah, that's a good question there, Chuck. I can't quite say. Arnold Larson says Krasi is faster, and if he gets on Todd's bicep, he might pull off a couple fast wins. Yeah, true. Todd isn't the fastest puller in the world. So yeah, and Krasi is really good at getting into position efficiently. So I do think that's a good point. Like I said, tough match. Really tough match to predict for me. But yeah. I do have to give the slight edge to Todd Hutchings in the end. But Krasimir definitely has a chance. Take a look at the next match here. I'll run a poll for the next couple of matches. I think that'd be interesting to kind of get a feel of what chat thinks here. So about 67% of you is buying the pay-per-view, 69% now. Interesting, okay. So 2/3 of you. For those of you that aren't buying it, can I ask why? You don't have to answer, and I'm not doing that in kind of a how dare you not support arm wrestling kind of way. I'm just really interested in hearing what's like the reason you're not buying. Is it price point, or are you not available that day, or do you just not buy pay-per-views, or I'm just really interested. But yeah, thanks for voting in that one. Hello Scarapoon. Again, how you doing? Edwin Lindbergh says Todd has always beaten Krasi. Krasi seems to be weaker now and Todd way stronger. Todd 3.0 in his opinion. Yeah. Could be. Could be the case that Todd takes it easily. Maybe it's just wishful thinking on my part that I want to see Krasi do well. But I'd be interested to see who you guys have between Prudnik here and Zirakashvili. So yeah, vote in the poll in chat if you can. Get a little idea of what you guys are thinking here. Yeah, interesting match. 105 kilograms. I don't know this one. It's tough. My chat isn't responding right now for some reason. Strange. Let me try refreshing. There we go. Okay. So yeah, it seems like the poll didn't quite start, right? Weird. I'll start it again. Prudnik or Zirakashvili. Here you go. Let's see. Scarapoon says, I will see the matches weeks after the pay-per-view, just like any other sport. That's fair. Yeah, for sure. I have to say, I don't buy any other pay-per-views other than arm wrestling pay-per-views, so I definitely get that. Edwin Lindbergh says, I won't say easy, but I think Krasi has no way to beat Todd. That's fair. Chuck says, to be truth, I don't see a huge difference in Irakli everyone is talking about. Hey Dan John, how you doing? Good to see you. Rara Stefan Braun says, how good is Irakli at 105? I don't know, right? I feel like in my mind both of these guys were heavier, weren't they? Wasn't Prudnik close to 115? I've met Prudnik in real life and he didn't seem like 105 to me. Seemed heavier. But yeah, maybe I'm just really bad at estimating it. Chuck says, I think he was at this level all this time, but he was put against stronger opponents, talking about Todd Hutchings, I think, still. Which makes sense. Roman Gorokov says, I've never seen someone turn Irakli into a hook. Yeah, Irakli has that kind of really explosive, well, I don't know about explosive, but really strong top roll, because Irakli often catches people in a top roll, so I don't know if it's apt to say explosive, but he has a really strong top roll, so yeah, I do think it's hard to force Irakli in a hook, for sure, especially if you're that weight, right? Edwin Lindbergh says, Prudnik will just be too strong. I don't think there is a single lane where Irakli is stronger than Prudnik. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I have to give the edge to Prudnik here. I do think so. Edwin Lindbergh says Prudnik was 110 against Todd, 114 against Devin, and 105 against David. Irakli has been at 95, 105 since he started his super match career. Okay, so what it boils down to here is how strong is Prudnik still, right? Going down, what, 10 to 20 kilograms? Or 10 to 15, I guess? Something like that. 10 to 5 even. Can't lose that much strength, right? Chuck says, no, it was about Irakli. Okay, there you go. So yeah, Irakli was just put against stronger opponents, according to Chuck. And he was at this level the entire time. Might be the case. Arnold Larson says Ryan Bowen beats both soon. I don't know if we're doing another fantasy league soon, Arnold Larson. But might be the only chance Bowen has to beat these guys soon. Listen, I'd love to see Bowen in the mix with the top elite guys. Bowen and I have a good working relationship. I've made some shorts for Ryan Bowen before he's hired me to do some stuff. I've met him in real life, and I get along just well with him. So, yeah, nothing against Ryan Bowen. I just don't think, yeah, he'll be able to hang with these guys in a quick time frame. Let's put it that way. Right now, 71% of you think Prudnik will take the match over Zirakashvili. So yeah, I do kind of agree with that Prudnik has more of a chance, right, than Irakli. Never count him out, I guess, but yeah, there you go. Prudnik. Okay, so that does mean I was thinking, I mentioned this before at the start of the stream, there's a big training session here where I live on the day of East versus West. It's like an international training session with a lot of people coming. Reno Masic is also giving a seminar there and stuff. Yeah, and I kind of thought Prudnik would be showing up too, because he's been showing up to some local events here, as he's now living here, I think, with the war going on in Ukraine. But apparently, yeah, he isn't, right? Because he's at East versus West that day. Unfortunate, but understandable, of course. Edwin says 110 kilogram Prudnik beat Morozov 3-0. Not too long before Morozov beat Dave. I don't think the weight is going to be a problem for Prudnik. Yeah. True, Prudnik is also known as one of those guys that can pull out of his weight class, right? That's very true. Hey, White Wolf, how you doing? There's an arm historian. Did you do a short of Devin and John reacting to your fantasy league? Yes, indeed, I did, White Wolf. I appreciate it a lot. White Wolf gave me a shout out, sent a super chat in the live stream of Devin and John, telling them about the all-time prime fantasy league. So much appreciated there, White Wolf. And yes, I did make a short about it. White Wolf says, I have Prudnik for the win. Yeah, I think chat largely agrees with you here, with 75% of you guys thinking Prudnik has the win here. Tomer says, I think Prudnik has become really weak, like going head-to-head with Devon to now seemingly being beat by everyone. You do have to consider, right? Prudnik isn't in his home country. His home country is at war. I'm sure he's still at a really high level. Could still beat like 99.99% of all people. But yeah, you do have to wonder if it didn't take some kind of toll on him, right? I know it would for me, for sure. It's just really hard of keeping the same efficiency when training when you're taken out of your routine like that, right? And put in a pretty high stress situation, as we can imagine. So yeah, you might have a point. I don't think he's weak. He might be weaker. Atlantis in real life says, I've been lurking while out delivering. Thank you for the lurking there, Atlantis. I hope you're staying safe while delivering and have a reasonably good time anyway. Glad that we can kind of keep you company here. White Wolf says, I'll check it out when I get home. Yes, certainly do, White Wolf. You're mentioned in the short, of course. Atlantis says, Carolina Peterson, low-key kind of hot. Wanted to add that earlier. Yes, not so low-key. I think women in shape, or just people in general that are in shape and love what they're doing or are good at what they're doing, are in general pretty attractive to me. So yeah, I can see what you're saying there. Bo Horner says Irakli will surprise some people. Might be the case. might be the case. It looks like if he does get the win, he will surprise a couple of people because chat has him as the underdog in this match, largely. Atlantis feels like Irakli will have this. Chuck says Prudnik lost only to Alijan on the left. Does he have more recent losses? Good question there. Maybe, hang on, someone mentioned before, right? Yeah, I can't really find the comment here, but yeah, maybe, fill us in. I can't quite remember. There's so many matches and so many things to keep in mind, and every time I do research for an episode, I go over the entire career of an athlete, so I might get some matches mixed up after a while. Tomer says maybe being at war has made steroids difficult to come by. There's still a steroid culture where Prudnik is living right now. You can trust me on that. So I don't think if he wanted to, I'm not saying one way or the other he is. But if he wanted to, I don't think he'd have a lot of difficulties there. Let's take a look at the next match. I'll end this poll with Prudnik taking the win according to you guys. 63% of you think Prudnik takes the win here. Our next match is David Dakan versus Oleg Penko. I've mentioned this before, I think, but it's always funny when I see Petrenko's face. I have a dear friend of mine, an old friend, whose face is very much like Petrenko's face. It's like a doppelganger, except my friend is not quite as buff. So yeah, I do call Petrenko buff Alexander sometimes after my friend. So who do you guys have? Is it David or is it Oleg? Let me know. Interested to see what you guys think. Bo Horner says, regardless of war, steroids are prevalent everywhere. Yeah, I think that goes for most drugs, right? If you want to get your hands on any kind of drug, in general, it's not that hard to do. Edwin Lindbergh says, Prudnik said he was clean for Dakan. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to go off anything else than what athletes tell you, and most athletes aren't quite as candid with their steroid use or talking about their steroid use, so yeah, don't really have a lot more to go off, unfortunately. Rares has this match at 50-50, which is about where I stand. I think Oleg Petrenko is a severely underrated arm wrestler, although people are waking up to him more and more, right? So yeah. Let me drink some water here really quickly. I've been kind of having a sore throat lately, but I think it's just the fact that it's really warm here. There's kind of a heat wave going on. So yeah, that gives me a dry throat if I talk a lot. Bo Horner also has it really close, but gives the slight edge to Petrenko here, which I can definitely see. McFarvo, on the other hand, thinks differently and says David is proven, but Oleg looked so good against Ongerbayev. Yeah, very true. And to look good against Ongerbayev is not an easy task, as you guys know. Atlantis says, I have a similar thing with my brother-in-law in Vitali. His regular height though, like 5'10", but looks exactly like him. Older though. Yeah, it's always interesting, right? Meeting like your friend's doppelganger or something like that. Always weird. Kinda makes you think there's only a limited amount of facial possibilities there. Chuck says, that's a hard one, even though I don't like David for his behavior. Can't see too much competition for him in these classes. Yeah, he's quite an aggressive puller, right? Yeah, so I see what you're saying for sure. Petrenko really made a statement from his last match as Bo Horner, indeed. Indeed, I think, like I said, people are waking up to his strength. I can't underestimate Petrenko by any means. Prince Sadie, how you doing, man? Says, when will Devon Larratt compete? And John also. Well, normally Devon Larratt was set to compete against David Dakan in this very match, I believe. But that got cancelled, so I don't know when he will compete again. As far as John goes, didn't he have a match set up with someone? Or am I dreaming this? Wasn't he going up against Leonidas, possibly? Would be an interesting one, right? Chuck says Face database has only limited capacity. Yeah, there you go. Prince Sadi says, hey brother, past 1 year, what happened to Kidergali Angurbayev? He's losing too much. Did he really lose that much? I think he's only pulling like 2 or 3 times a year, right? So, yeah, kind of limited there. But yeah, chat seems to be kind of split on this decision, with 56% of you going for Oleg here. Interesting. I think we'll move on to the next one, as I agree this one is pretty close. Might be 50-50 here even. So let's end this poll and take a look at some other matches here. I won't be staying live for too much longer. I think about 15 to 20 minutes more. I think that'll do it, and then I'll try to spend my evening productively by editing and trying to get a video out on the channel. Let's see here. Chuck says, I felt weird for Anga because he used to have fights even with giants like Levan. Maybe that match gave him some toll on his arm. Yeah, might be. We talked about this a lot in the Fantasy League, but I do think it's worth mentioning that the general level is rising year after year. I do believe so. So where people like Angurbayev could previously hang with some super heavyweights not even that long ago, I think every year it's getting harder and harder, and we're starting to see the effect of that to a degree, right? But I definitely feel you. It does feel weird to see him not doing that well anymore against the true giants. But yeah, this match, David Samusha versus Sasho Andreev. Who do you guys have on this match? Also, world title match. I think almost all of these matches are world title matches. Do you guys have David as a favorite here or Sasho? I've heard some rumors about David Samusha. I don't think they're quite true, but I can't remember who mentioned it. Like that David might be sandbagging some people. Kind of making a comeback to make it more interesting. Seem like he's actually not that much stronger. I don't think that's the case, but the fact that those kinds of rumors are going around kind of has to speak to the level David is at, right? Which I think is a really high level. Sasho for O, says Rares. Yeah, that might be the case. Yeah, this is one of those matches, again, that's really hard for me. I've kind of voted against David Samusha in the past and I ended up regretting it. Just because he does have this uncanny ability of seemingly figuring his opponents out, right? And getting the better of them. But then again, Sasho is so strong lately too. So hard to beat for people, I think. It's really difficult, this one, to predict. I do have to give the slight edge to David Samusha, just because, like I said, I do think he'll be able to maybe pull it out and yeah, keep his title here. How many wins has he had at East versus West? Must be one of the most winniest, one of the most winniest arm wrestlers, right? In East versus West. 9, says Rares. That's crazy. Yeah, that's a crazy amount. Chuck says, if David is sandbagging, we should see Levan versus David, with David being clearly the favorite. Imagine. Yeah, they must pull together sometimes, right? David is Georgian, after all. 9 or 8, says Rares. Yeah, could be somewhere around that number. I can definitely see that. But the amount of wins he's had at East versus West is definitely up there. Pretty crazy amount. Let me turn down the music just a tad here. I hope the audio has been alright throughout this live stream. I've tried some new things, some new filters on the mic. Yeah, we'll end this poll just to have a quick idea of you guys, and it seems like you're quite split on this one too, with 57% of you thinking Sasho would get the win here. And that leaves us with one more match, our main event of the night. Artem Morozov versus Vitaly Laletin on the right arm. Would have been a really interesting match on the left too, I think. Although I'd have to give the edge to Morozov there. But yeah, on the right arm. Interesting. Wasn't Morozov's last match on the right arm when he was on the soup diet? Or am I remembering incorrectly? When he was really sick? Rara says, who do you think Levan will face in December? No clue. Really hard to tell. Kind of depends on the trajectory of a lot of people, right? I hope he pulls before December, but yeah, might not be the case. So unfortunate. I wish Levan would pull more, even if most matches were a foregone conclusion. I think it would be exciting either way. Edwin Lindbergh says, I had Sasho as a favorite in the beginning, but after I heard Krasimir's opinion on this, I don't know. Krasi said he believes David has better endurance, which is where I was thinking Sasho was superior. Interesting. And Edwin also has Vitaly 3-0 on both arms in his opinion. Flash pins in strap. Might be the case if his post is strong enough, and yeah, obviously he will have the height. So if he gets off to a good start from center and can post, kind of bust open Morozov's hand there, yeah, I can see that happening. And Vitaly being too much off the go, getting a couple of flash pins. Then again, Morozov, again, is one of those people that is kind of known for his comebacks, right? After 2 rounds or something. Can kind of adjust and hang in there and tire their opponent out. So, but yeah, Laletin showing us lately that his endurance is quite strong too. Looking forward to it a lot. Happy to see Morozov on the right arm. I do think Vitaly will have the edge here on the right. Like I said before, the left way closer, with Morozov possibly having the edge, but yeah, on the right I do have to give it to Vitaly in the end. Rara says, can Morozov press? I think so, right? I think we've seen him press before, but I'm not quite sure. Good question. Edwin Lindbergh says Vitaly will do a low hand top roll in straps and flash pin Morozov. I think someone like Zeranov has a better chance than Morozov. Interesting. Also believes that Alex can give problems to Vitaly. Yeah, I can see that. Chuck says Vitaly for me is quite disappointing technically, but Morozov doesn't have a lane in which he can win. I don't think he can win with Vitaly's top roll. He won't hook Vitaly's low hand and won't press, because even Camille couldn't press. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that's quite a sign that the fact that Camille couldn't press this isn't quite like conclusive to me that someone else couldn't, because someone like Dave Chafee could press. It is a flop wrist, of course, but someone like Dave Chafee could even press Vitali. So yeah, I do think it matters who he's pulling there. But I see your point for sure. Good match. I think in general, looking back at all the matches, it's gonna be a good event. Although 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 matches, which is quite a lot. Could definitely be an 8-hour event or something like that. Which, you know, I've said this before. I love arm wrestling. I love watching arm wrestling. I love East versus West. All these pay-per-views, I don't mind them at all. Having a lot of matches is a good thing. But after a while, there is some fatigue that steps in, right? If you know what I mean. When you're getting to about match number 8 or 9, and then you get a really long one in there, with a lot of fouls and a lot of restarts, fatigue starts to set in to a degree with me. And I can only speak to myself and some people I watch it with. Rara says, who do you have between Chance and Sagov? I have Ibrahim, personally, although I am reserving judgment until I kind of see what kind of shape Chance is in. Because I do believe he had to lose quite some weight, right, to get to 115. So, yeah, I might be Chance here. I'm not counting him out, and I kind of want him to win, just because we need a younger rising star from the US, I believe. But yeah, I do think Ibrahim has the edge over Chance. Rara says, is the match open class, the one between Chance? No. Chance and Ibrahim, no. This one is. The one between Morozov and Laletin, of course, is in the open weight class, of course. I don't think either of these fellas will be dropping below 115 anytime soon. You never know, right? Seeing as Devin is dropping to, what, 105 or something crazy like that. But I don't think either of these guys will be dropping anytime soon. Seems like chat, 67% of you have Morozov as the winner, which is nice. It's not what I expect to happen here, but yeah, you might be right there. Seems that most viewers have left. I just checked the concurrent viewers. Seems that most have left the live stream, I think. Quite possibly there's another live stream going on right now. But it's kind of good timing too, because I was about to end the live stream here. So yeah, I think that'll about do it for today. Chuck says, by the way, will we be getting more viewers as guests on stream? I'm definitely open to do that, Chuck. I could have done that today. I like doing that. So yeah, quite possibly that will happen, very possibly even. If anyone else has any ideas for live streams, you can always hit me up on any of my social medias or Discord or just on YouTube, whatever, wherever you might find me. As always, thank you guys for dropping by, those of you that are still here. I appreciate it a lot. You'll see me again on Sunday, and hopefully before that, I'll get a video uploaded for you guys, a long-form video that you can enjoy. So yeah, thanks again, all of you, new faces, old faces. Chuck says, have a good night, arm-headed man. Have a good night too, Chuck. I appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon, hopefully. Have a good rest of your week. I know it's only the start, but yeah, we'll get through it, right? We'll get through it. We'll get to Saturday soon enough. So yeah, hopefully see you next Sunday. Now have a good one, guys. Arm Historian, out.